It's Restaurant Week here in DC, the city's biannual dining promotion, but sales have been sluggish. Joining me to discuss this latest challenge facing the restaurant industry is Todd Kliman, a two-time James Beard Award winner and former food critic. Todd, thanks so much for joining us on the program this evening. So, as we know, Restaurant Week, it's a staple in the DC food scene and is usually a big draw for customers and businesses, but it's a bit of a tough scene out there at the moment.
Very tough, and I don't recall the last time, probably never, that the restaurant week was extended because of poor turnout.
Right, and it's dealing with a lot of heavy law enforcement at the moment, DC in particular. You know, this law enforcement has been off the back of Donald Trump's claim that the city is crime-ridden. Do you think that that has any negative attention? Does that impact on the restaurant scene, even if people felt perfectly safe eating out before Trump's crackdown on homelessness in the city?
It's had enormous ripples because even before the tanks rolled in and troops started to show up, and to be fair, it's not across the city, it's in pockets, but even before that, it was a very skittish scene, and the fear of that has kept people away. The liberals have stayed away as a kind of a sign of protest, and tourists are skittish, and it's kept them out of the city as well. So you have, somebody had referred to it earlier, it really is a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm of bad, with a lot of factors coming together to take this scene that had been thriving before the pandemic and really crater it.
So Restaurant Week in particular, what are some of the other factors for the reason why it's a slower restaurant week and that the reason why it's being extended?
There are a lot of factors. Prices are really high, and that's kept people down. So you have cost of goods for restaurants has been escalating, I should say. That's been going on since the pandemic, when we had so-called supply chain issues, and the prices have kept going up and up and up, and that's kept people away because the costs of going out to eat are so high. Typical entree in DC now is maybe $52, $56, and so the suburban audience, the family audience that lives close in Virginia, close in Maryland, they've stayed away. And then you have the fact that labor has been such an issue in this city, even before the pandemic. But the pandemic really accelerated it, and the crisis now with ICE raids has really cut into that. The fear of that has kept a lot of people from entering the industry, and it's kept people from really flourishing. Restaurants are very skittish. There's a great uncertainty as to what the world really looks like right now.
So there's so much going against the industry at the moment. As you mentioned, we've got these ICE raids, increased law enforcement in DC, yep. This off the back, of COVID just 2 years ago, and now, the increase in the minimum wage. How then are restaurants surviving amidst this environment?
Well, the question is, are they? You have restaurants in the city that have deep pockets. They are almost without fail restaurant groups, restaurants that have 3, 4, 5 and up number of satellites, and those restaurants have been able to weather the storm. Those restaurants also are the kind of places where two people can go out to dinner and it's $250, $275, $300. So what it's done is imagine a piece of taffy getting pulled. The high end is at that level is doing okay. The low end is also sort of surviving because they can make sandwiches, they can make bowls, and they can get by that way. What's being affected is the vast middle. And in that vast middle, you have middle-class restaurants, you have family-run restaurants, you have even some fast casual restaurants, and they're being hurt tremendously by all these factors we just mentioned.
DC is an incredibly transient city. People come and go, tourists as much as expats. Is there more that long-term residents can do in DC? I, for one, I'm not all that clear on which restaurants are the chain restaurants and which ones are independent. And as a resident, I'd probably prefer to support the independent restaurant. Is there more that the restaurant scene and those around and supporting it can do to help keep the industry alive?
Sure. One thing that people can do, and this is wherever they live, is to cultivate a handful of restaurants that are in neighborhoods. Doesn't have to be your neighborhood, but a neighborhood. Restaurants that are anchored in a neighborhood have a different, excuse me, they have a different method of operation. They have a different outlook. They're guided as much by passion as they are by business. Support them. Give your dollars to them, and they are the ones who are hurting most and having to try to navigate this world where they're doing meal kits and they're doing all kinds of forms of delivery. They're doing market-based appeals. They're trying to make sure that they can hang on in some way. What we've got right now, and it's not new. This has been going on for about 6, 7 years, but now it's really being accelerated. Is we have a scene where we really don't have restaurants the way we did. We have a lot of places that are de facto food trucks. We have food trucks. We have places that are focusing on doing one item. Those aren't really restaurants. They're food delivery centers, but they're not really restaurants. And then we have restaurants at the very, very high end that are out of reach for most people. And in the middle, as I said, there's just a dwindling number of places that can satisfy a public, and it's a very difficult thing.